Hi friends, today we will be setting up this board right here. We got all the goods. We got the grip tape, Red's bearings, Bones risers, bearing spacers and washers, blank trucks, never tried these before. We'll see how good they are. It's very special wheels, these Sharkwheels. I already used them on my previous board, tried them out, but figured they would be better on like a cruise board or perhaps a vert board, so that's what I'm going to be building today. More hardware, of course, blank skate deck, 8 1/4 inch, and here's what we will need for tools. Just a skate tool and a box cutter. If you don't have a skate tool, there's my screwdriver. You can get away with a Phillips head screwdriver, and maybe you can go to your toolbox and find a ratcheting wrench, socket wrench. You'll need 3/8 inch sockets for the hardware attaching the trucks to the board. I believe a 1/2 inch wrench for the axle nuts for the trucks. And if you want to adjust the kingpin, that's a 9/16 socket. As for cutting the grip tape, a box cutter will do, maybe a safety razor, sharp knife, any of those will do, but we probably want to avoid something like scissors, because with scissors we'll probably gum them up because there's glue on this and you'll never be able to use those scissors again. Why don't we start by applying us some grip tape? We'll start by removing the backing tape. Actually, we'll start by making sure that the surface of the deck is clean, got no rocks or anything that might get caught on the grip tape. Apply the grip tape as evenly to the center of the board as possible, but you want full coverage. We start with the edges, and we have very reasonable coverage here, and then we will push down the grip tape. We will start using our palms and push the air out from the middle and kind of walk our way to the edges. We might need a little bit of slack here, so I'm just going to pull this up. All right, that's a little better. I noticed that the grip tape was starting to come under tension, so if you notice air bubbles, you can just massage them out. Now, I don't have any. I think I did a pretty decent job, but if you do have an air bubble, no problem. Just walk it out through the edge of the board. Now that the grip tape is applied, we're going to want to score it. We want to know exactly where the edges of the deck are. We can do that in one of the following ways. We can use our screwdriver, and we can just score the edge of the board like this. Likewise, no shame in doing it against a curb or maybe the asphalt. If you have nothing else to use, this works just as well. And as you can see, the asphalt is actually already doing a really good job at cutting the grip tape. So with any cutting device, you're going to want to make sure that you are cutting away from yourself. Slowly, and never like put the knife under tension, because it'll go flying. If we do it towards ourselves, we risk cutting ourselves if it slips. So always cut away from yourself and make sure there's no cats, dogs, animals, or humans around, just in case it does go flying like this. But I think in this case, I'm just going to take advantage of this asphalt here. Alright, so we've kind of ground it down against the curb. Took about 5 minutes, maybe a little bit less. Now, we can carefully start peeling the grip tape off. And for edges that are just a little bit more stubborn, that's where a box cutter knife comes in really handy to finish off the job. Alright, I am reasonably happy with how this turned out. The lines are fairly clean. And as we skate, this will clean itself up anyways. Now remember, these strips of grip tape, we're actually going to use them to clean up our edges by sanding them. And I do this because it helps a lot with making sure that there's kind of like a tapered edge. We're now sanding off literally the grip tape so that there's a tapered edge going into the edge of the wood. And what this will do, this will just make sure that the grip tape doesn't peel off if it, happens to catch on the ground. So it really reduces the chances of that. All right. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Now, actually, there is a bit of a bubble here. And like I said, you can try to massage it out of the board. Or alternatively, if it's just too stubborn, don't hesitate to just kind of poke a tiny hole through it, as small as you can, and it'll go away. Now with the grip tape applied, we're going to want to locate where the holes are to mount the trucks. And for that, I'm just going to use this stick right here. All right, and we can see them. Actually, poke through this one. The rest I'm just going to use the screwdriver for. We want to go from the top of the grip tape down so that the grip tape isn't kind of poking out. It goes inwards into the hole. It just makes for a much cleaner install like this. Actually, this side is doing a much better job. All right, let's attach these trucks. Now the hardware size is going to depend. You're going to have anything from 1 inch to 1 1/8 inch to 1 1/4 inch bolts. 1 inch is fine. It'll cover pretty much almost any board, any application. But what's going to dictate whether you need longer bolts or not is if you're planning on using spacers. In my case, I am, so I have these, I want to say these are 1 inch, maybe they're 1 1/4 inch. I'll find out after I go to edit the video. But these are slightly longer than I normally use to accommodate for the riser. Now, the reason I want to use a riser is because these wheels are much bigger than a normal wheel. This will help me avoid having the wheel rub against the bottom of the board when I go to turn. So we're just gonna poke all that hardware right in from the top. Clean up these threads. They got a little bit of wood, got a little bit of that twig on them. I'm gonna put on our trucks. Now, we want the nose of the truck facing the nose of the board. The kingpin should be facing the inside of the board. Oh, right, I almost forgot. Gotta apply these risers. Riser in. Truck in. Now we're gonna use these nuts, these 3/8 inch nuts. We're gonna take our Phillips head screwdriver on one side, our 3/8 inch driver on the other, and tighten all the nuts. You'll know to stop once the bolt no longer shows above the grip tape. We want it to be completely flush with the board, or it's going to give us problems when we go to skate. As we tighten it, it basically countersinks itself into the wood. All right, applied this bad Larry while you weren't looking, but you'll notice one of these things is not like the other. I made a little oopsie. I mounted the riser pad in the wrong direction. As a result, it's actually misaligned with the truck, so I'll have to actually pop this one off real quick. Let me show you. Whew, my wrists are getting tired from all this twisting and turning, but let's take a look here. you can see that the riser pad has kind of unequal lengths holes here. The reason for that is trucks come with 2 sets of holes because some decks are different. This longer hole here coincides with these 2 holes. I had it mounted like this, so although it'll fit, it will not align as nicely. So happy little accident on my part. It will not happen again. The board is looking quite legit. So why don't we apply some wheels now? Blank Deck did supply us some washers for the wheels. However, let's have a closer look at them. I would not call these super high quality. It's got like a strange lip on it. Very rough to the touch. It's like when they stamped these out at the factory, or however they made them, but it does look like a stamp to me. Their die was just not doing so great. So I'm not going to use these. I'm going to use the ones that came with the bearings, the reds. Now these are of a much higher quality. Here, just for comparison. Here's the reds. Here's what came with the trucks. All right, I'm going to start by taking a look at these reds. Ooh, I can see the oil already. Oh, these are just beautiful. So what we're going to do, the red shield here, the dust shield, is the outside. So we're going to want to keep that on the outside. I'm just going to press it in with my thumb. If you're having trouble, you can use your trucks to press a bearing in. I'll show you. But before I do that, I got to get my spacers in. Spacers are important. See these cylindrical objects? These go between your 2 bearings, your outer bearing and your inner bearing. These are vital to have because, in part, one of the functions they serve is making sure that when you go to tighten down the axle nut, you don't happen to squeeze the bearings down, which is actually going to distort them and cause them to be kind of skewed and distorted, which will definitely make them wear out much faster than you want them to. So anyways, what I was going to show you, so if you want to press in a bearing and the wheels being kind of stubborn, just use your truck, right? I got the bearing on like this. I'm just going to put equal pressure on all sides of the wheel. I'm going to press it down. And now it's pressed in. We do want to use the washers because without it, there's a good chance that we're going to be rubbing the shield against the truck or the nut, which is not something we want to do. So that's why we put a washer on each side of the wheel. So washer goes in, wheel goes in, another washer goes in, and finally our axle nut goes in, which we tighten down with our 1/2-inch bit. And we tighten it until there's no more play in the wheel. But you don't want to tighten it so tight that the wheel stops. So if I tighten it too much, the wheel won't spin nearly as fast. Rinse and repeat. All right, this is looking really awesome. Now the last thing I'm going to want to do is probably adjust the tightness of the trucks, which seem quite soft. To do that, we're going to use the largest driver on our skate tool. I believe this is a 9/16 of an inch. Oops, wrong side. And what you're going to want to do is turn it the exact same amount on both sides. We don't want unequal tightness or uneven tightness in the front and rear trucks. So I'm gonna turn this a half turn, and then I'm gonna go back here and do the same thing. I'm gonna test the tightness, still quite loose. I don't really like that, so maybe a full turn here and a full turn here. How's that? Still quite soft, so we're gonna keep doing this until I achieve the tightness I like. Let's see if we can do some tricks. That's a nice car. Oh man. All right. This deck feels great, but a couple of observations. First, I can see that we got a little bit of an indent mark here, so to avoid that, I'm gonna tighten the trucks up a little more, because even with the risers, it's still hitting the deck, so that's not good, but we can fix that. And also about these Sharkwheels, I mean, their whole shtick, their idea is that they're funny shapes so that when you, let's see if I can find a rock or something. I'm outside and I can't find, okay, found a rock. The idea is that when you ride over rocks and debris, this shape allows it to kick the rock kind of off to the side, and you won't trip over it as easily as you would with a normal wheel. I think to an extent that's actually probably true. All right, thanks for watching. I hope this helped. I'm gonna end this video with a little bit of a skate montage on this board, I guess. Oh, sketch town. Ooh,